right, everybody. Welcome to the Yeah We Know podcast. You're in the ring with Jimmy and the Podfather. And Rod, here's the thing. I need to go on a little rant here.
Let's hear it, Jimmy. I'm excited for this. What a way to lead off.
A lot of different ways to lead off. This is our SummerSlam review show, but I want to talk about 2020, 2021 in general here with COVID and in the world. I'm not getting too deep here. Don't worry.
Okay.
But we did things before COVID. And then we did things during COVID. We had to adapt to a lot of different ways of life, and then how we run day-to-day businesses. And what is happening now in the world of professional wrestling or sports entertainment is basically what I'm seeing happen in every other form of life, where we're just going back to the way it was. We're turning on the faucet instead of learning from the last year and a half and maybe keeping some of those adaptations or, changes that we made. I don't think I used the word adaptation right there, but that's okay. You got what I said.
I read you.
For example, if we are going to go to a pay-per-view show and we are going to watch a show, we do not want to be in there for a 4.5-hour pay-per-view show. All of these shows in the pandemic era, some of them didn't even reach 3 hours. A lot of them reached 3 hours, and that's really a good point. Right there. But this show, for everything that happened in it, oh my goodness, was this a long, drawn-out process that if you look at the match times, Rod, the match times don't equal 4 hours. They equal like 2. So what happened on all those other that other time? WWE has not learned again from the past, and this is ridiculous, dude. I mean, how was your first 4+ hour pay-per-view in a long time?
Well, let me go ahead and add on to that a little bit and say that I was fired up for the pre-show. So I was like, let me just watch this pre-show too, which was, good Lord, that was a mistake, because that was just an extra hour added on top of there, where you had Booker T making no sense. Jerry the King Lawler, who I love as much as anybody else, WD Hall of Famer, legend, did the color job better than anybody else, perhaps not named Gorilla Monsoon. But, I mean, I could have done without it. And then the match was great because I got my guy Baron Corbin. So
got your boy.
Definitely excited about that, seeing my guy Baron Corbin. And I was like, okay, it's going to be a good night for my predictions. And then it was not a good night for my predictions. And it also was just a complete slog. It just was. I found myself getting excited during matches because I'm a wrestling fan. These wrestlers know how to wrestle. You're dead inside if you can't at least get excited during the matches. But you were right. Compared to my hour of AEW that I watched this weekend for the first time ever, and how quickly they seem to get their guys out to the ring versus what was going on in this WWE pay-per-view, I'm as much for pomp and circumstance as the next guy, and I love crowd pops, but my goodness, it did not have to take everybody that long to do everything they did.
They do it all the time. People watch these big shows, and they do have to do some recaps of it, but you don't have to show the same recap over and over and over and over again. We get it.
Yeah, every recap of the pre-show made its way back then to the actual pay-per-view. You're exactly right.
Of course it did, and they're already there. They're already invested, and they even previewed matches that weren't going to happen. So there's so much we got to get onto this. I think the number one thing we need to talk about, though, is I won our prediction contest.
You most certainly did. You kind of wiped the floor with me here, proving that experience can sometimes win out over somebody who thinks they're hot. I have a lot to learn yet.
You're my young Padawan, but you'll get there. Don't worry. You're learning very quickly why I'm jaded a lot. I had a pretty good, successful night there. So much to talk about. We'll start with SummerSlam, then we'll get to CM Punk. Actually, we may get to CM Punk halfway through SummerSlam here. So, started off with RK Bro and AJ and Amos. Now, you're going to see a recurring theme during the SummerSlam where all the matches were really, really quick. And some of them, the finishes came out of nowhere. And I thought this was one of those matches where it just came out of nowhere, where Randy Orton got the pin. It's over. We have new tag team champions. We're going to have these guys do a month or so, good run, and then Orton will turn on Matt Riddle. And they'll fight, and everything will happen like it usually does.
How dare you almost forget Riddle's name, by the way? I don't think I didn't notice that. How dare you almost forget Riddle's name?
I was off. I almost said bro, but I'm like, that's not right. So I thought it was a pretty good opener. It wasn't my choice for an opener, but it was good. It got the fans excited.
I was at least right on tag match, right? I had that part of the prediction right for the first match. I said it was going to be a tag match. I just thought it was going to be the other tag match.
You did have the tag match. They did show Logan Paul, who Logan Paul is going to make another appearance on WWE television, and everyone loved Logan Paul. You could tell in Vegas there were a lot of boos for Logan Paul. A match that really didn't need to be. Oh, that match came in at 7 minutes and 6 seconds. My guess was 10, so I'm gonna give myself a plus or minus 3 on that one. But some of the other ones I did not get right. Bliss and Eva Marie was just a ridiculous. Eva Marie is not a good wrestler.
She didn't even wrestle. That's my thing. She didn't even wrestle.
Yes, it's ridiculous. Put Doudrop in there. Doudrop is fantastic in the ring. Oh, no, she doesn't look like Eva Marie. Here's the thing. Some people don't find Eva Marie attractive, Vince. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
Just like who cares about how they look necessarily and more how they work. That was a nothing match. There was no magic involved. Alexa had the new theme song, which we didn't talk about. Got rid of the Wyatt theme song, which is really a good move on their end because people would have been very upset at that one. I was right on the nose on that. It went to 3 minutes 49 seconds. I thought it was going to be about a 3-minute match.
3 minutes and 49 seconds too long. That match could have easily been in the pre-show or just not happened at all. They can find something better to do with Alexa Bliss. I recognize her talent. I love her talent, but let's do something better with her than what's ever going on with Eva Marie. And if they want Eva Marie's presence around, that's fine, but let's have her step into an MVP type role where we don't expect her to get in the ring for any reason and she's just there to help build up heat. But let's go back to the RK Bro match for just a second.
Sure. Yeah.
I like that was the first match because my son, the Vanimal, 9 years old, attention span of a 9-year-old. Let's just put it there, okay?
Sure.
Loves his Switch, loves his YouTube, loves going from video to video. So he was locked in from the beginning, but I lost him after the third match. But thank goodness they put AJ Styles on in the first match. And I think the Vanimal's take on this match was a little different than most other people's because the Vanimal was all types of angry at Randy Orton for getting the RKO on his guy AJ Styles and for them losing the title. So the Vanimal was angry right from the jump.
I really hope that AJ gets more of a singles push now. We'll see what happens. Maybe they'll do a draft and break those two up. Jackson stayed through most of the McIntyre Mahal match, and then he was ready to go to sleep. And Izzy, for this time, Izzy did not watch the pay-per-view. She was doing some other things, but usually she does watch the pay-per-view as well.
The Mrs. Morgan, hung in for most of this pay-per-view. I might drop in a couple of her thoughts as we go along here.
Okay, congratulations. Damian Priest, my boy, and Sheamus went 13 minutes and 56 seconds, longer than I thought they'd give him.
I felt like
solid
Priest
match.
Worked better. He worked better than I thought he was going to, but I give that credit to Sheamus, I think. Your boy Priest needs to get a little sharper in the ring, Jimmy.
And then he took a couple bad spills in that match too, and you could tell his back was hurt, maybe his leg was hurt as well. I don't want to see another rematch between these two, but we are definitely getting one tomorrow on Raw. It may be the first match, the actually in-ring match we see is Priest and Sheamus, and hopefully Priest just beats him, and then he can move on to something else because we've got to do something else there. A match I didn't watch too closely came in at about 10 minutes and 50 seconds, I guess 12, so I'm going to give myself credit on that one too. The Usos did defeat Dominic and Rey, and those seeds are being planted. The father-son, they're gonna break up, Rod, because you have to break everybody up, don't we?
You do, and I get it from a drama standpoint, from a storytelling standpoint, from an entertainment standpoint, but here's the other problem. This is still a visual medium, and Dominic still does not look anywhere near, shape, or form a wrestler that we should take seriously. He just doesn't. The outfit's stupid. He's not, Vince hasn't given him a secret package. You take that to mean what you want it to mean out there, but he hasn't hit that level yet. He just doesn't strike me as anybody that I should ever remotely care about, other than he's fighting with his dad. Once you break him and Ray up and that gimmick is over, Jimmy, what do you do with him? You got another Xavier Woods on your hands.
Xavier Woods is so much more talented, though. We'll talk
he
about
is, but I just mean how he doesn't have anything to do.
Okay. And something that I had to rewind, go back 10 seconds in Peacock, but then you can't go back forward, whatever. The guy who plays guitar for Nakamura, what's his name, Rod?
Rick Boogs
comes out. Nakamura comes out, does his entire entrance. He, McAfee, Boogs, the crowd is going crazy for him. And then it goes to a video package. He comes back and they're done. They just did his entrance.
Yep.
They didn't have him do anything. What the hell is this? What's going on?
It's time to celebrate the new Intercontinental Champion, Jimmy, as well as the king of all of the WWE, the king of strong style, Shinsuke, who I'm starting to come around on. I used to not really buy Shinsuke, and that dude sells out, man. That dude sells out with the dancing every time. He gives you what he's got every time he comes out there. I like the way he works in the ring. He doesn't do nearly as many cool like wrestling moves, right, as I'd like him to do, but I still somehow buy it. And I guess it's because he labels himself the king of strong style. And I didn't come up learning strong style as a young youth.
Yes, I love Nakamura, but I just thought that was the most random thing. It's one of those that you would think they would do that for the live crowd when there's video packages playing for the at-home audience, but
don't you think that was maybe a little bit for McAfee though, even more than it was for Shinsuke? What
yes,
do you think about
100%, because they want to get that over. McAfee legitimately loves that, and I think it's great that he shows that much passion, and I wish they would let other people do that as well, especially their in-ring talent. But I definitely think that was something for McAfee as well to do. All right, so. About 8 days ago, it was known that Sasha Banks was not going to be able to partake in the match with Bianca Belair tonight.
Oh, really? I did not know that. That would have been good information to give to your podcast partner, because we were all completely floored, looking way forward to that match.
Well, I mentioned in the last podcast that may or may not happen because of COVID protocols, but it came out that Dave Meltzer, yes, I know, calm down, mentioned that they've basically known for 8 days that this was not going to happen. But they continued to promote it. They continued to false advertise it up until, and this really ticked me off, before the match, they did they
recapped the feud.
The whole thing. Bianca is in the ring, and they get on and say she is not going to be able to participate tonight. And the fans are upset, but then the fans are starting to chant Becky, Becky, Becky a little bit. And then they say her opponent's going to be Carmella, the strongest woman, or the most beautiful woman in the WWE universe.
That did not go over well.
Fans are now pissed off beyond all recognition because we have seen this match over and over and over. And God bless Carmella. She's not there. Okay? She's not in that upper echelon. She's not even in the tier. She might be in the tier down of the women's wrestlers in WWE as far as in-ring performance goes. So people are pissed. But what WWE does is they can't just give you something cool. They want to make you feel like crap first and then give you something cool. But then we'll talk about what happens next after that. So Becky Lynch's music hits. The fans go insane. I went insane. That was pretty cool to see her back.
Would you say that was the biggest pop of the night? Would you say that was the biggest pop of the night when she appeared? Or would you say it was the one that we'll get to later?
It might have been the one that we got to later. I don't know. We'll have to. I have to look. I have to think about that because but see, they were coming from such a far place down to get to the Becky Lynch pop, which is another thing we need to discuss here. Is they were so angry and so dejected because they were like, "Oh, this is actually happening. I can't."
We're getting Carmella again. We just saw this last night in Phoenix, for goodness sake.
And for the last 6 weeks, right? So Becky comes out. I love the fact that she threw Carmella out, looked at Bianca and said, and Katie, my wife, also said, that's really funny when she said, give me one more minute, goes out and kicks her butt again. Carmella was a sacrificial lamb there. And then we have this moment where Becky gets on the mic and says, let's tear the house down. Let's have the match of the night. You and me right now. Ding, ding, ding. Wham, bam, 1, 2, 3. You pin Bianca Belair in 26 or 27 seconds, depending on where you look at. I have a lot of thoughts on this. I know you do too. I've taken a lot of the takes now, so I'm going to let you start with how do you like how they brought Becky back, and then let's talk about the main thing here is what they did to Bianca here.
Well, here, let me just start real quick with some folks, a little background on Becky Lynch for me. All right. I was aware of Becky Lynch rising to phenomenal heights for a female wrestler. Right. And I also tuned into the premiere episode of SmackDown on Friday night on Fox, right? Your previous podcast partner. You guys thought it'd be cool to have me watch when they first debuted on Fox, right? The Rock came out. Huge, right? We're bringing out the biggest star WWE's ever had. Who do they bring out to do in the ring with The Rock on the opening night of SmackDown? Becky Lynch. So clearly I understand that she's an important person. I've been watching over the last couple of weeks. Every time there's a woman in the ring and there's a lull, the crowd starts chanting Becky Lynch. I get it. What I would say to that is, Jimmy, she's over. You don't need to do anything else. So what you did in that match was give her 3 times more heat that she just absolutely didn't need, and you killed Bianca Belair in the process. For what reason? To what ends? What did you just gain over the last 3-4 months of dominance Bianca Belair's been showing that she just got wasted by Becky Lynch in that moment? People were going to love Becky Lynch whether she beat Bianca or lost to Bianca in that match, or it was a 10-minute match where she just barely beat her. But jobbing her out like that made no sense to me whatsoever. And it really really disappointed Kate because Bianca Belair is one of Kate's favorites, and she just couldn't believe it. Now, she commented when Becky Lynch first hit the ring, she's like, oh, look at her. She's awfully cute. She's a little sprite. You know what I mean? And she was just loving the energy Becky Lynch had. But by the end of it, she was mad that she beat Bianca.
And that's what they did. WWE, and I read this somewhere earlier today, WWE does some great things, but there's always a but after. Like, oh, it's great that Becky Lynch came back, but I probably would have done it a different way than that. So are you supposed to be a fan of Becky Lynch now or not? They just took a huge baby face, and now there's kind of a little gray area. Like, well, wait, we like Bianca, and you just you didn't cheat, but it was kind of a cheap shot, and then you did the match. Now, people are going to say, and I'm sure my former podcast colleague would say, they didn't have much time, they didn't know what to do. It's very simple. All you do, very, very simple here, is if Becky Lynch isn't ready to wrestle, which some people are thinking that she may not be ready to actually come back right now. Why'd you put the title on her? But anyway, if she's not ready to come back, then don't have her come back right now, okay? But if she is ready, you can do one of two things. You can, on SmackDown, which was on Friday, the day before, and you knew Sasha wasn't going to be there, say it on SmackDown. Sasha can't be there. There's going to be a mystery opponent, or Bianca Belair will address the crowd. So Bianca comes out on Saturday and says either there's a mystery opponent or I issue an open challenge. Bam, you hit Becky Lynch's music. Becky Lynch comes out, and they have a match if they can. If Becky Lynch cannot do that, then you have Carmella come out. Then you have somebody else come out. Maybe they fight over it a little bit, and then have Asuka, have Io Shirai from NXT to come up and have a 10, 12-minute match, give the people what they want, give Bianca the win. If you have Becky Lynch come out and you think she can wrestle, Becky Lynch had to win this. There's no way she wasn't going to win this. But winning it in 26 seconds, Rod, over someone that main evented night one of WrestleMania, who has dominated the division, who got beat by a punch and a slam. I don't like how they did it at all. I don't, Rod.
Let me ask you this. How much am I supposed to compare the men's to the women in the standpoint of this, right? So we talk about, we're going to get to the main event later, but there were so many different times in the main event where each one of those guys were kicking out of things that we've not seen people necessarily kick out of before. And so then you just spoke to it right there. Bianca took a punch that didn't seem like a huge punch, and then a slam, which I'm guessing that's Becky's finisher because they called it the man slam or something like that. That's her finisher.
It's one of her signature moves. She has a submission to do the finisher. But
well, I mean, of course, everybody's always got to have a submission. But I get it too, right? I understand that at play here a little bit is she didn't lose her title, right? She kind of had to go away from maternity leave and all of that. But
of course,
I don't necessarily know that means she gets to walk into the SmackDown Women's title, because the other thing that I talked to the Mrs. Morgan about when she was asking me is if we're to believe that you have these contenders matches from time to time, where literally the person with the belt fights a person in a match that the belt is not up for, and if that person wins that match, then they can challenge for the belt later, and then you have other heat that's created between people when they say, oh man, you took my spot, essentially the reason Seth Rollins and Edge participated in what may be the match of the night, and we'll get there, but all of these things I'm to believe are storylines I'm supposed to care about, and you just jumped all of them for Becky Lynch. And then it's like you said, so a bad thing and a good thing. Becky Lynch is back. I'm excited for that. Let's see what she can do. But if she can't really wrestle, you killed Bianca Belair for what? And then now Bianca Belair can't fight with her because maybe Becky Lynch isn't 100% cleared. None of it makes any sense. But you've told me that this is what would be in my future, and now here I am.
Welcome to the WWE, Rod. In a segment that you could tell people really didn't care about the Olympians that came out, Tamara Menstock and Gable Steveson.
That dude didn't seem to care. She was at least trying.
She was all about it. Yeah, she was all about it, and hopefully they bring her on as well. And I think they're going after her. I don't think she's said that she's going to or not, but it would be kind of cool for them to come out. But they really didn't care about them at all. McIntyre Mahal was a fine match. It was okay for what it was. Drew McIntyre didn't kill anyone with his sword. McIntyre wins in 4 minutes, 33 seconds. I thought it would be about 7, so I'm going to give myself the win on that one as well. Anything to add about the McIntyre-Mahal match?
Jinder Mahal can work pretty well.
He's okay.
The guy's for his size, he's pretty good in ring. You know what I mean? And McIntyre, I like, but here's what I want to say about McIntyre. Okay, Jimmy? we're getting to the point where it seems to me that Drew's birthing a different character right now than the one that I first came back to versus him and Bobby Lashley, right? He seems like he's going way more to caveman, Neanderthal kind of levels here, and I'm not as interested in that as kind of the edge and the dry wit that I thought Drew McIntyre had when I first came back around.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you're right. We'll see what happens here. I still think he's going to have to go to SmackDown eventually because
clearly because the belt's still on Lashley, and we'll get there.
Exactly. Real solid match, 13 minutes, 4 seconds. Charlotte, Nikki, and Rhea. There were some really hard hits here. Charlotte did a fantastic move off the top rope. She did the little twist with it. That was good. Charlotte gets the win. Rhea flipped over the ropes, landed on her feet.
Didn't look good.
Awkwardly. I was like, and she blew her knee out. Nikki got killed. I thought it was a solid match overall. Entertaining. Charlotte's your champ. She is inevitable. She had the Thanos gimmick going on.
Yeah.
Overall, your girl Charlotte you still love, right?
Oh, absolutely. I thought at that point that was the match of the night. I mean, I clearly knew that it was probably going to get beat by one of the ones that was to come after it. But I mean, at that point, it was the match of the night, and Charlotte she continues to just amaze, right? I mean, just her ability in the ring to just captivate and get people over and sell things, and it's just she is absolutely amazing. And Nikki ASH and Rhea Ripley should just be kissing her boots at all times. Frankly, is what needs to happen with that.
Sure, but let's move on to something different. That's again one of those two needs to go over to SmackDown and bring somebody else up to Raw to face Charlotte because we've seen this a lot.
Recently. Oh yeah, I mean, but you're almost getting to Charlotte with what you're getting with Roman, right? Where Roman keeps talking about who's next. I've beat everybody, right? You can basically start doing that same thing with Charlotte, and I'm not against it.
Well, right now, Survivor Series usually you have champion versus champion. That's a Charlotte Becky right now, so that would be a fun matchup at Survivor Series.
Well, the crowd's so anti-Charlotte, and I guess maybe they're going to be so pro-Becky. So I mean, that would be some serious heat in that match for sure.
It'll be interesting to see what happens between Becky and Bianca on Friday. It's going to be really interesting to see. It's also going to be interesting to see if they keep Becky till Friday or they try to bring her out on Raw, even though she's SmackDown. Match of the night by far. I know why this didn't lead off, and I'm glad because if it led off, it wasn't going to get this much time. 21 minutes for Edge and Rollins in just a super match back and forth. I love the heat, love the passion. Edge got his win, which he needed. Overall, I just think that this was a terrific match. A lot of outside stuff, a lot of psychology going for the curb stomp. Rod, I know this was one of your most anticipated matches.
I'm basically just going to fanboy out about Seth Rollins here, the way I just did for Charlotte Flair. I mean, he's just his ability in there is just second to none to me. I mean, he's the facial expressions at all time, the noises he's making. You know what I mean? Like he's selling every last little thing. And Edge, I was really impressed with Edge, right? Like he's one of those guys that I missed an awful lot of his career. I sort of missed how he became the rated R superstar. I was a bit more familiar with the Edge who was the Brood Edge, and then it was Edge and Christian, and then I missed a whole lot of the rest of that. I missed all of the neck fusion stuff, right? With the when Rollins was together with Reigns, and I guess it was Dean Ambrose at the time, who's now John Moxley in AEW. Like I'm just starting to put all these strands together. You know what I mean? So I see that Rollins has done an awful lot, and he's probably been a heel more often than he's ever been a guy that the crowd ever went for. But his ability right now to just be so heel. I mean, that promo that he cut on Friday night in Phoenix was, I mean, that was one of those moments where I jumped. I mean, the Brood music kicked in, and then Rollins is looking around for everywhere, and he got doused. I mean, and the crowd they were so hating Seth Rollins that night. And I looked over at the Mrs. Morgan, who was watching with me, and I said, this is a dude at the top of his game, because this is exactly what he is in the ring to do, and he is doing it to the best of his abilities.
They've changed his gimmick over the past 6 months, and it's really done a lot for him. Did you enjoy the Brood entrance?
Oh, I did. I thought that was great, and then how he stopped in the middle. Like the one guy that I was fine with them giving a little bit of time for his entrance was Edge, because I love the combination of the Brood, and then we got to do the rated R superstar and the rock and roll up in the air and the bang in the head.
There was a lot of issues yesterday at the stadium. The concessions were down because they're a cashless stadium and their credit card machines went down. I think it was like a nationwide thing. So the Padres had issues too. So they had to give out some free food here. And then they stopped serving. There were some toilet issues. And then also WWE was not allowed to do fireworks or any pyro at all. So that changed Edge's entrance. Goldberg, I don't know if he knew that, and we'll talk about that here in a second.
Oh, God,
I don't know if
that
Goldberg
match.
knew that there was no pyro because he just kind of stood it.
Did
anyway.
Goldberg know he was at SummerSlam? Let's just go ahead and say that.
Well, we have to talk about the segment before first, Rod, because we had the Miz and Morrison and Xavier Woods dressed as Scott Hall getting shot with water that lasted about 7 or 8 minutes for no reason whatsoever at all, and just made us all dumber for watching it.
No, Jimmy, I'm not going to come on this podcast and break bad against either The Miz or Morrison. I refuse to participate in the segment. I will at least say maybe you're not wrong, but I refuse to participate in the segment because I will not break bad against America's Most Wanted, host of Moist TV, who will be welcoming worldwide internet phenomenon Logan Paul to his show on Monday night.
Lashley and Goldberg. Goldberg comes out and stands at the top of the ramp forever because he didn't realize that the kind of smoke effect that they used was his entrance. I don't know if no one told him. Goldberg looks phenomenal, but the second he starts moving, you can tell he's just. I mean, he's older. He's been through a lot. He was a football player, wrestler. He was pretty sloppy throughout this match.
Pretty sloppy. You're being awful nice to Goldberg. You are right, though. I was amazed at how cut he was because we'd kept him basically in a shirt for all of the lead up. So when we finally saw him shirtless, I was like, okay, at least you're looking the part. But yeah, you're right about the movement.
You didn't watch the Undertaker Goldberg match from Saudi. This is pretty sloppy. There's a lot worse than this. It was longer than I thought it was going to be. Not much, though. I thought it was going to be about 6 minutes. It was 7 minutes. Seemed like a lot longer. Did he really hurt
his knee? Like, let me ask you, did he really hurt his knee, or that was all supposed to be that way?
They had to incapacitate him so then they could beat up his son, and not knowingly beat up his son because they're going for a rematch here. I mean, Lashley wins in it's a ref stoppage, which is a real thing that does happen in MMA and boxing and everything like that. It just. With everything that happens, this is a tough one to swallow. Whatever. They're going to do a rematch. Hopefully it's at Saudi Arabia where no one sees it. But, Lashley is still the champ, and I love the fact that he's doing a great job. He's a great champion. He and MVP are great. MVP can't hit somebody with a cane very well, but other than that, Goldberg's like, oh, that was the cane that hit me. Oh, okay, ow, that hurts. Kind of a, it was what it was, and it was. That's what
it was basically what we all knew was going to happen.
Yeah.
There's no chance Goldberg was going to win that match. There was no chance that we were going to be awed by Goldberg's wrestling prowess all of a sudden. Like, there was just no chance any of that was going to happen. You're right. That basically went the way we thought it would. And if you brought Gage Goldberg out a couple of times before, of course he was going to get involved again.
Sure. All right. Reigns and Cena, the main event. Solid. Overall, Cena didn't look like he really lost a step. This is how main events go in WWE, Rod, where there's a lot of slow pace to start with, and then at the very end there's a ton of action, ton of near falls. I thought that Cena giving him the attitude adjustment through the table, then quickly throwing him in the ring was a great touch. Attitude adjustment off the top was a great touch. Cena's got that power bomb a lot when he goes off the top rope and it turns it into a power bomb. That looked good. A lot of Superman punches. Overall, I have no complaints. I thought this was a great end, a good end to the show, and people seemed like they wanted Reigns to win.
You're just going to say solid? I thought the match was a little bit better than solid. I mean, it definitely started out slow, like you said, but I thought there were so many times with those near falls where, like, the Mrs. Morgan, and I were looking at each other, like, and then we just start, like, laughing with enjoyment, you know what I mean? We're just you know what I mean? Like, they did it to us again, you know what I mean? Because, like, I went into this believing there's no way that they're going to give the belt to Cena because of exactly what Roman and him talked about on Friday Night SmackDown. What, that you're just going to take off to the movies and be the champ? But then I got to thinking, okay, maybe they might. So there were certain points in that match I thought to myself, maybe Cena is going to beat him here. So they had me on the edge of their seat, and I was going back and forth, and I continue to be amazed at Reigns' ability in the ring, and I see why everybody gave him so much time and care and effort to try to ultimately get him to the point he is at now, because that dude is an amazing professional wrestler.
So Reigns gets the win. A lot of people are happy about that. And then all of a sudden, Brock Lesnar's music hits and the place erupts because they were not expecting that. And Lesnar comes out looking like a guy who's lived in the hills of Minnesota for the past few years, with a fantastic ponytail, beard. He's everything out. Babyface Lesnar. I thought that was okay. Well, the moment itself was good. Heyman is terrific at everything he does because it's like watching the old girlfriend meet the new girlfriend. but you ended on good terms with the old girlfriend. You don't really know what to do. I thought the moment itself was fantastic. I'll talk about where it's going here in a minute, though. What'd you think overall?
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that the crowd popped like that. But then again, when a guy's gone for a way and then he comes back, it almost doesn't matter what you thought about him before. Just the reappearance of him is all that you need. We just saw that case in point with John Cena. So, and then the Mrs. Morgan, looked at me and was like, "Who's that?" And I'm like, "That's Brock Lesnar." And she's like, "Oh, okay." And then, I wondered. I was like, they're not going to give Lesnar the mic here at any point, are they? And then I was like, no, of course they're not going to, because they don't need to. But then I saw the thing floating around on Twitter. I like the little bonus they gave the crowd there in Las Vegas. We got a couple German suplexes and an F5 for old John Cena.
Yeah, can't go wrong on that. So great moment. Oh my God, we don't need to see this again though. Like Reigns and Lesnar again. We've done this so much. You're bringing other people in. It's what I've said from day one. You're not making any new stars. Why
aren't we going back to Finn Balor? That's really the question.
Oh, he will. Ask. No, he's going to go back to Finn Balor. He's going to destroy Finn Balor. He will destroy Finn Balor.
Okay, then okay. What about Big E? Why does Big E have to cash in for the Intercontinental Championship? Why can't Big E cash in on Roman? We all want it. Why can't we get there, Jim?
This is what's going to happen. He's going to face Lesnar. If it's at Saudi, it's at Saudi.
He's got to face somebody before Saudi. There's that extreme thing happening before Saudi.
Yeah, and that might be Finn Balor. It could be. But he's going to do that, and then they want Rock and Reigns at Mania.
I'd be fine with that. I'm fine with that.
But again, if he's going to beat everybody, you're bringing Rock in. Is Rock going to beat him? No, Rock's not going to beat him. So you need to start building someone now who can then beat. See?
I'm going the other way, Jim. I'm going the other way. Let's have Roman Reigns be Universal Champion for like the next year and a half, right? And like until somebody really shows up that like, you know what, this guy actually is believable and could beat Roman Reigns, then just keep letting him be the champion. Because it's almost to me what you can set up with Roman Reigns, and I was proud of myself for thinking of this, and you're going to immediately shoot this down, I'm sure. But what I was thinking about you can set up with Reigns is the Attitude Era. No, we'll get to Baron Corbin again, trust me, because I think he's still involved. But the Attitude Era, in my opinion, was such great storytelling because there was one clear fulcrum at all times, and it was Mr. McMahon, right? It was Mr. McMahon and the authority, and everybody was trying to buck the system, and McMahon was trying to work the system and pull the strings that he wanted, and it was that fulcrum in which all stories kind of went around, right? What if the one fulcrum is Roman Reigns is just completely unbeatable? And I know that was sort of what they did with Brock Lesnar, but he wasn't around an awful lot. What if the guy who's unbeatable is just around and beating people all the time? Might work.
Let's do it.
I don't know.
That's fine. I am fine with that, but I don't have the confidence that they can build that person who will eventually beat him. And yeah, I'm talking long term. I'm talking WrestleMania 2023.
But you've got faith in Big E. I know you don't have faith in the WWE, but you've got faith in Big E. I mean, if we've got all of that time, come on, you got to see a few people on the horizon that might be able to be built to that, don't you?
There's a ton of people that can be built to that, but it's if they're going to be built to that, or if we're going to keep bringing back John Cena, Bill Goldberg, Brock Lesnar, and all those people.
See, I think it comes down to, this is something else I was thinking about that I wanted to run by you. What matters more to Vince at this time, okay? Does it matter more to Vince at this time to be able to say to people, I created The Rock, I created John Cena, look at the profile Brock Lesnar has now, right? Like, does it mean more to Vince to try to just go after this mainstream success and then any kind of success be able to say, I did that? Or does actually wrestling mean more to Vince at this time?
I don't know. I don't know. I think
once we figure out the answer,
right?
Once we figure out the answer to that question, though, Jimmy, I think we'll know more about where we're heading with the WWE.
Goldberg was popular 24 years ago.
Now, Nick Khan, do we want to talk about the Nick Khan comments? Because I think they factor in here too, Jimmy.
Well, in a second. And that would be like in the Attitude Era if you brought someone from the 70s, late 70s in to wrestle and be in your main event. So we're talking like a Bob Backlund would be in there when they brought him in the 90s for a minute until Diesel killed him. So we can't keep going back to that. Now, if you want to talk about the Nick Khan comments, and this is go ahead.
Well, I mean, I think he basically, right, in as coded language as possible, tried to tell people, no, we're not for sale, by meanwhile telling people, hey, we're open for business, okay? And you and I have talked about before in other, real sports, not sports entertainment, where the outcome is not predetermined. Again, I'm not trying to say these guys aren't athletes.
Sure.
I don't want to be taken out of context there.
No question.
But you see hey, let's do a couple of flashy signings here right now, right? Let's get a couple of our big talent up here. Let's have a couple of things that we can put out in the window so that we can try to fetch this big, huge price tag. And so if they're only worried about trying to have a huge price tag for a sale, then they're going to keep trucking these old folks through. But if they continue to worry about AEW's presence and what they may start doing to their market share, perhaps somebody will be able to take hold and say, no, we've got to worry about wrestling and wrestling only, and that will be our key to success, just like it was last time.
I don't think they look at AEW as that much of a competitor.
They might need to start, Jimmy. They might need to start.
And let's talk about, we kind of buried the lead here, in my opinion. SummerSlam had a lot of big moments, but the biggest moment...
You did that for me. Let's just be honest to the people here.
I did.
You'd much rather talk about CM Punk, and I'm just not as familiar with AEW. But I will say, even though you instructed me not to watch the entire hour Rampage, I did. So I can give you thoughts on the other people who participated in the event.
Okay. We saw how the WWE brought back Becky Lynch and what happened there. CM Punk, it was never said that he was coming back in Chicago. They hinted it a couple times here and there. Darby Allin did say he wants to face the best in the world. It was in Chicago. There were huge rumors that he had been doing it. The place sold out 3 different times. So they kept adding seats. So 15,000 people in there. And when the show opened, Rod, the electricity in that building, you could feel from the television.
You definitely
could. The chanting of CM Punk. That is the loudest reaction ever. And then, instead of giving you anything that the WWE would have, they would have brought out somebody else first and then CM Punk. No, they said, here you go. Here he is. They hit Cult of Personality, which was his music in WWE. Obviously, it's a licensed property. They can license any music they want. They hit that, and then he comes out, and the place goes nuts. He crowd surfs. And he went on a few minutes of just saying, in August of 2005, I left professional wrestling to go to WWE Sports Entertainment. And on August 19th, 2021, I'm back in professional wrestling.
Shots fired.
Exactly what they wanted. And he even mentioned, this was a shot at WWE, but also true. He was never going to get better unless he left WWE, physically, mentally, everything. And he wouldn't be good if he went back. So that's why he came to the new place. I thought it was one of the best moments in wrestling, and I'm going to put a period at the end of that. I just think it was fantastic.
All right. This is the analogy I've been thinking about all day to use here with CM Punk, okay? Now, clearly, CM Punk is someone who has a resume, so he is different than a draft prospect. But what is going on right now, okay, to me, I relate everything to the NBA, all right? I was told that LeBron James was going to be the next best thing since sliced bread from all of the draftniks and all of the people who are supposed to study that, right? Then told that about Anthony Davis, Zion Williamson, so on and so forth. All these different number one picks over the years, right? So you're excited for it. You're ready. You're tuning in and all the stuff at the beginning. And you're like, okay, everybody's told me that this guy's the biggest deal. Everybody's told me that this is something that I should care about. I'm here now. It's going to be very important to me to see what they do with CM Punk on Wednesday. And this is another question I have for you. Do I have to buy a pay-per-view to be able to see him fight that Darby Allin guy, don't I?
Yeah, that is a pay-per-view. That is a pay-per-view. Yeah, it's $50.
I don't think I'll be doing that. So I'm going to have to be caught up on what happens in that from stories. I don't think I'll be doing that. But I have set up to record AEW Wednesday. CM Punk is clearly a big deal. I understand crowd pops better than almost anything else about professional wrestling because that is so easy to judge. Is it a big pop? Is it not a big pop? Is it a boo? Is it a cheer? That's pretty easy. And it was clear. I mean, there was a grown man crying, okay, in the crowd when CM Punk came down to that ring, all right? And then he sat down in the ring, which I know is a reference to the Bomb promo, which I sort of understand what the Bomb promo is, but I don't know it word for word like you huge CM Punk heads out there probably do. But I sort of get what the guy's gimmick is. I get that he's taking shots at the WWE, and that's cheap heat, which is always welcome in the world of professional wrestling, but I just am going to be interested to see what happens with this guy, and I need to see what the big deal is.
All right, I'm going to give you a basketball analogy here, and it's a work in progress, but I just thought of it when you were talking there. This is like the Orlando Magic winning the lottery in 1993. They had Shaq, they had a little bit of things going here, but then all of a sudden, bam, you get the number one pick. So now you're going to bring somebody else awesome in, and how do we develop that moving forward? So AEW is on a pretty hot streak right now. They're bringing in Their Chris Webber / Anthony Hardaway, and hopefully a little bit better than them, is CM Punk and Daniel Bryan. They're coming in to this upstart, and they're going to try to continue to make it more well-rounded and more popular, and it will, and it has. We don't have the ratings out yet, but the ratings for that at 10 o'clock on a Friday night are going to be outstanding, I have a feeling. So
smart on their part, by the way, to
I'm
go
excited.
after SmackDown, right? I know that that they want to be competition, but right now let's try to stay out of their way, so don't have any of your audience cut by still possibly watching SmackDown. So smart to have that thing be at 10.
Yeah, correct. I think that was more of a Turner thing, but I'm sure they had some. Yeah, we don't want to be in that 8 to 10 range. Let's go at 10 o'clock would be fine there. So I did not watch the rest of the show. You did. So talk to me. What did you think about your first AEW experience?
I will say this, okay? I hear all of the smart wrestling heads out there give so much credit to AEW and their storytelling, right? I hear Kaz and I hear David Shoemaker and I hear these other people that are just, oh my God, the AEW, just story. So clearly there's smart people there, okay?
Mm-hmm.
They had to know that there were going to be huge eyes upon them Friday night, right? The segment immediately after CM Punk appears for the first time in 7 years. And you say to yourself, here's what we're going with right after CM Punk. We're going with Jungle Boy and Dinosaurus, Luchasaur, some guy in a luchador horn mask, all right? And then Private Party.
Yes.
Tag match. That's what you decided to give me immediately after you just gave me CM Punk.
Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus are extremely over. Jungle Boy, do you know who his dad is or was?
Leapin' Lanny Poffo?
Luke Perry, actually.
Really?
From 90210. Yeah.
Okay.
But they're a very popular tag team, and Jungle Boy is only 20 years old.
Oh no! Everybody that appeared on that screen was popular to the 15,000 people in Chicago, Jimmy. I didn't.
But we needed a little bit
much
more backstory, maybe a little more backstory on that,
or just maybe somebody that seems, because like Mrs. Morgan, was watching in the living room for a second while I was, and she just was like, "What in the world is this?" Right? To her, it just looks so much more low rent than the WWE, and I get that they aren't on WWE's level yet, but you can still try to fool people. Like I might have given them the Moxley match right after the CM Punk instead of having that be the main event, because I thought that match was kind of cool, and that guy seemed like somebody that, okay, hey, this guy, like you could see this happening in WWE. I realized he was Dean Ambrose in the WWE, but still, to me, that made more sense of going with, hey, you fan who maybe don't check us out all the time, namely me, right? Here we are, AEW, and you just immediately, for me, made it seem like we're a far less product by giving me Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. Again, I get they're over to those guys, but they didn't appeal to a guy like me.
There's two different ways to look at that. Do you want to do a WWE guy next and say, oh, this is just WWE, but they couldn't hack it, or do you want to put newer people in? That's interesting. I like that perspective, though. That's a good perspective.
And isn't Ambrose sort of, or now John Moxley, isn't he basically the same thing as Punk, though, right? I mean, like, didn't he just have a falling out with WWE because he's the guy who doesn't want to follow the rules as well? I mean, isn't he basically the same deal?
Not on the same level, but yeah, he was just unhappy. It's unhappy, and he went somewhere else, and he's doing a great job and is happy now. So.
Listen, not everybody gets to be happy in the world sometimes, right? You want to be successful, as much as we want to complain about Vince and as much as we wrung our hands about WWE SummerSlam earlier, you want to play in the big leagues of professional wrestling, it's playing for the old man in WWE. That's just all there is to it.
There's an up-and-comer, though. I mean, again, yes, WWE is still the big leagues, but watch out for AEW. They're doing well. So,
I'll be checking in.
Did you like the show overall?
I did. I'll be checking in. I'll be checking in. I like that they seem to be involving more managers. I kind of dug that because that just you get a chance for more personality, you get a chance for more heat transference and things of that nature, more storylines you can tell. So I dug that. You know what I mean? I think that the WWE could actually stand for that a little bit more. I mean, we just see how much MVP adds and how much Commander Aziz and Omos add. They don't have to be huge people on the outside of the ring, but a few more factions and a few more people looking out for other people's back is easier to tell stories with.
Okay. Well, it was a fantastic weekend for wrestling, and we still have NXT TakeOver that is happening. We're recording this on Sunday, so it's happening a little later today. We'll have a recap of that next Sunday when we review the week and see what happens on all these shows with, is Lesnar going to show up? I don't know. He may or may not. Becky Lynch, I think, will be around. And where's Sasha Banks is another question that we have to look at. So anything you want to plug before we get out of here, Rod?
You know what else? I want to just say shout out to Seth Rollins. And doing some of my reading of wrestling articles, I realized that he is actually married to Becky Lynch, and he is the father of the baby that came from Becky Lynch. So good on you, Seth Rollins.
He is the father of the baby who came from Becky Lynch. Yes, he is.
You like the way I put that, Jim?
I really do like that. Yes, that's great. You've been listening to the Yeah We Know podcast. We're part of the More You Know Podcasting Network. You're in the ring with Jimmy and the Podfather. I'm Jimmy.
And I'm still Rod. I was really hoping that I could maybe come to you people and shout it from the rooftops that I'm Hot Rod. But we're still going to work towards the top of that mountaintop. But we're going to be trying to come at you weekly. So stick around.